Ever since I was younger, I was into video games.
Somebody like the Fuse so I can bring bad news to all these crews who can't NBA jam with the shoe.
Hey everybody, welcome back to a quick beer review. I've been going back and drinking beers recently that I used to drink years ago and very much enjoyed, and I wanted to revisit the one and the only, as we say, from Russian River Brewing Company, Santa Rosa and Windsor. This is Pliny the Elder. Everyone knows this beer, I think. If you don't, I don't know what rock you've been living under the last 20 years. I don't know what to tell you if you don't know this beer. This is, for me, the quintessential West Coast double IPA. 8% alcohol by volume. This beer's been around, I think, since 2001. So 20 plus years of the same recipe. Yeah, we revisited Heady Topper a couple weeks ago. I very much enjoyed it still, and I wanted to drink Pliny again. It's been probably 4 years since I drank Pliny, at least on camera. I think the last time I had it was when we did a blind battle beers with the first batch of Pliny for President, which was fun. But yeah, I mean, this is just a legendary beer in the West Coast IPA world. I guess in all the IPA world, if we're being honest. So. Bottled on January 16th. Today is February 2nd. So what, 2.5 weeks in the bottle. Fun little backstory. This was at one point my most checked in beer on Untappd. There was a time years ago, like 2011, where here in San Diego, we would get stores that would get Pliny, and it was one per person. Which, when you think about that these days, one per person of a double IPA, like how preposterous, right? So stupid. But we ended up befriending a liquor store owner that would get Pliny, and he started ordering cases of it for us. So it was pretty rad back then. You know, when people could only get one per person, we were getting 12 bottles at a time. I was able to trade this for everything, which was cool. So yeah, at one point it was the most checked in beer I had on Untappd. I would just drink this. There was a California Extreme arcade show I went up to the one year, and my buddy it was in Santa Clara, and my buddy went to Santa Rosa. We were drinking Pliny's out of the growler. Like, this beer is so nostalgic and so fun, and like such a big part of like my craft beer journey. So yeah, I wanted to drink it again just to make sure we still love it, because I think this is, like I said, the best West Coast double IPA ever. It's Mount Rushmore beer. So yeah, let's do it. This beer is super carbed, and I think I'd have to go back and watch like my early review of Pliny. I think this beer was really carb last time I had it. So tons and tons of bubbles in the glass. This beer is a lot lighter than I remember it. It probably looks darker on camera because we sit at this red video game, but it is straw yellow, finger and a half, probably a fluffy bright white head. We are using our Russian River vessel because you guys know beer tastes better in proper glassware. This beer, I got at a local grocery store, which is awesome. $6.99. And for years at the brewery, you could get bottles of Pliny for $5. So the fact that it's shipping from Northern California to Southern California and they're only marking it up $1.99, like, God bless them. So $7 for a bottle of Pliny. I mean, I don't think you can get a pint of beer for $7 anywhere these days. So let's go ahead and smell it. Gosh, it still smells so good. It's so like lemon peel, grapefruit, and it's got a nice like malty sweetness. It is dank. It's resinous, piney, floral. Gosh, it just smells so good still. Again though, for me, this beer is super nostalgic. I remember smelling this beer for the first time and I'm like, this fucking beer, like, this smells unreal. It just smells so clean, so hoppy. Maybe a little bit of fruitiness, but this is classic old school. Pine, resin, grapefruit, orange zest. It's very like bitter smelling. And yeah, just an awesome like malty sweetness. It smells great. Cheers. It's still fuego. Gosh, this beer is so good. I love it still. So much bitterness. I don't know what the IBUs on this are. There's no way it tells us still, does it? Did it used to say it? It's up there. It's a bitter beer. And that bitterness is a floral bitterness. It is a zesty grapefruit bitterness It is all the citrus fruit bitterness that you can think of: lemon, orange, grapefruit, pine, danky resinous, like just on the middle of your tongue. It digs in. It gets, I don't know if abrasive is the right word, but it is so fucking hoppy. But it finishes like super dry and with like this cool sourdough bread thing. It is just ridiculously drinkable for an 8% beer. I will say, I think if people were to try and get into this beer these days, it could be a bit palate fatiguing, just because it's so intense and so bitter and so hoppy and so floral. I could see like trying to drink a couple of these. I mean, I could drink these one after another, just because this is what I love. This is what I fell in love with back in the day. But I could see this being a little intense, maybe palate fatiguing for people who aren't used to this. But this beer is still, dude, I will fucking fight every single one of you guys that comments, beer's not that good these days, bro. You're full of shit. You are full of fucking shit. I'm not kidding. I will fight every one of you. I just cannot imagine what guys who started their craft beer journey drinking hazy beers would think about this beer. There's no way that they would like this. But this is one of those beers. This beer is the reason you're drinking hazy beers, because all the dudes who are brewing hazy beers these days were drinking this beer back in the day. If you've never had this beer, I say this a lot in videos, it behooves you to seek this out. This beer is widely available these days. Their Windsor location is massive. They brew tons and tons of beer. I was there a couple years ago. It is one of the most beautiful breweries I've ever been to. And they brew so much beer, and it gets distributed everywhere in California now. So if you're outside of California and you want to get your hands on this, you will be able to trade for it, no problem. It's just one of those beers that you need to try. It's, regardless if you end up liking it or not, this is something that needs to be ticked, so to speak. Ticker's got a tick, right? Like if you're a craft beer, you consider yourself an IPA fan, a hophead, whatever the dumb like names were back then. If you think you like hoppy beer and you've never had this beer, you absolutely have to have it. So seriously, I'm blocking everyone who says this beer is not good. It's world class still. It's still, I think, the best West Coast double IPA that's ever lived. So that's Pliny the Elder from Russian River. Glad to say this beer is still great. Fuck yeah. I love this beer. And it will continue to be in the fridge until my last breaths are taken. So you guys fans of this one? I hope so. And if you've never had it, please have it. And if you're a New Money Haze bro and you had this beer and you didn't like it, go ahead and comment below so we can fight all of you. That's it. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.
Thank you for coming behind the bar, in the arcade, all that shit.
Ever since I was younger, I was into video games.
Somebody like the Fuse so I can bring bad news to all these crews who can't NBA jam with the shoe.